All right, I'm here today with a couple of guys who are involved in the red pill screening at Western Sydney University. So, would you like to introduce yourself, guys?
Go for it, Gordon. You go first.
My name's Gordon Gregory. I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Laws degree at Western Sydney University Campbelltown campus.
And my name's Leonard Anderson. I'm the founder and current president of the Skeptic Society, the group currently trying to get together a screening for the Red Pill documentary, and I'm studying Bachelors of Psychology.
Okay, then. All right, so maybe, Leonard, if you could start us out with, the whole process, the application process, and then subsequent to that, the controversy. Initially, it was approved, and then it wasn't. If you could just take us through that in a chronological sort of manner, and give everybody an idea what happened.
Basically, about 2 months ago, give or take, we got off from a very, very long suspension, about 9 months. And so we wanted to kick off the rest of the year with something really big and something to really tell people that we still exist, if you've ever heard of us on campus. And so we wanted to, we knew for a while about this Red Pill documentary film that was coming out. And the Men's Rights Melbourne had just been knocked back from the Palace Cinemas, and they were on the search for a new screening site, and we wanted to sort of ride the wave of controversy. And we put in, about 2 months ago, we put in a budget request for the academic screening rights for the Red Pill film.
Yep.
A month after that, it was approved. So they got all the information. They got the documentary and articles either criticising it or pro Red Pill film. So it was a full explanation as to what it was.
So they would have had, they would have been aware of the Melbourne controversy at this stage?
Yes, when I did apply for the events and the screening package, in the process, usually in the events creating process, you're asked to give as much information as to what the event and what you're supposed to be doing on campus. So I gave them everything. I gave them the trailer, the documentaries, interviews on Cassie J, articles criticising the Red film and pro articles celebrating its arrival and everything. I wanted to give them a complete full picture, so they made a proper assessment of it.
Yep.
About a month ago, we had the screening package, academic package approved, which was great. The following day, we actually put the event request in, so they had a little over a month to decide that what we wanted, the lecture hall and the resources that came with it, was going to be acceptable.
Yep.
And then from there, we started aggressively advertising as much as possibly can. Pretty much all the Sydney-based men's rights groups were completely aware of what we were already doing, so we didn't have to send too many invites to them. I remained in contact with them anyway. But we wanted to try to emulate what we wanted to see in the film, what was being reported in the film, as sort of a well-balanced documentary between MRAs and feminists about men's rights. And so we started sending out invites on social media and everything else to feminists, prominent feminist groups, asking them whether or not they would like to join us on the day. And even non-feminists, but people that had strong criticisms against this film. And prominent figureheads, either from our campus or from outside groups, we actually gave special invites to ask whether or not they'd be interested in sitting on the Q&A panel.
Right.
So ideally, we're going to have a Q&A panel of 5 people. We're going to have Cassie in the middle and 2 MRA representatives. We're going to have Jasmine Newman from Relating to Men.
Yep.
We're going to have a representative from Men's Rights Sydney and 2 feminists on the other side, or at least 2 people that had strong criticisms against it.
Yep.
And it's pretty much 2 weeks into initially putting in the event request. That's when things started going a little, I guess, a little airy. I was trying to get confirmation from my club's rep as to the ETA of this academic package.
Mm-hmm.
And I contacted the club's rep initially, and she wanted the links and details to the purchase so she could organise it and get back to me. I sent a few emails away, and then I had to give her a call to figure out what was going on. And I was told that her boss basically told her to sort of put the purchase on hold, and there was certain reservations from the uni, and she had to get back to me on that. So I gave him a call, and he was telling me that it basically went all the way up to the top. So it was going all the way up to the vice chancellor on the UWS.
Right.
And he acted sort of like as the middleman, so we were contacting between him and sending emails and giving him phone calls and waiting for the decision to come filtering down, and we finally got a final word late Wednesday night, and yeah, the rest is history. I mean,
And any other than what was on the change.org site, can you add anything to the reason given, or you're not sure?
I have no idea at this point. I have put the word out that I will keep the petition open to update everybody, but I will be hunting down for an explanation as to why we couldn't have it. So
yeah. So at this point, is there any point? So the petition had how many signatures in the end? About
about 730.
Yeah, it's not many, is it, compared to the Melbourne one?
No.
Now, is there any point in promoting that still and trying to put pressure on the university? Is that something you think needs to be done?
Normally, I would say yes, but recently today, I just had a look at the change.org petition, and somehow it had been, I guess, cancelled in a way from change.org, where you can't actually sign or put your signature on and sign the petition,
Right.
and it will only allow you to share the petition now for some bizarre reason.
Right.
So I have no idea what happened there. I sent change.org a little email asking them if they can explain what's happened there, because we didn't change anything, even though we got that decision from the university. We didn't close the petition or anything like that, but it's been changed somehow. We have no idea what's going on. So if you want, even though you can't put your signature on it, you can share it, and every time we update the petition, you'll get updates. But apart from that, yeah, I would say that their decision in this regard is pretty final.
Okay.
It wasn't just a change petition. There was another petition that ended up getting about 150 signatures. And this was a petition created by Jasmine Newman from Relating to Men.
Yeah.
But they had a fair amount of pressure.
Right. So, well, they must have had a fair amount of pressure the other way. But it's strange to me that the controversy around Melbourne, it still went ahead, and actually the Melbourne controversy resulted in the screening actually being more than twice as large as it was initially planned, so it kind of backfired.
Yeah.
Cassie J was on the Bolt reports during the week. I don't know if you guys caught that. It was an excellent interview. She acquitted herself fantastically, as she usually does.
Oh, nice.
It is absolutely... when you hear her talk about it, and I just... it's just feminist hysteria that is preventing this from being seen. But so do you know of outside forces, pressure groups, or who are the likely candidates, if you want to name them, or if you want to have a speculate as to who's pushing back against it?
Well, I've had very little feedback from people that don't want this film to screen. When we did start initially sending out invites to feminist groups and prominent feminist representatives, they either blocked us on Twitter or Facebook, or laughed in our face, or that was about it, pretty much.
Yeah.
We didn't get, although, no, sorry, we did get, are you guys familiar with Dr. Michael Flood from
Yep.
University of Wollongong? I sent him out personal invite asking him if he would like to sit on the Q&A board, and he was pretty much the only one that got back to us, politely declining. He said he'll be overseas during that time, so that was nice, even though we have criticised him in the past. So at least there was that. Apart from that, it would just be pure speculation.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
That's all right.
Well, if I could just add for a second, I mean,
Yep.
I've seen through the campus council, this uni is pretty SJW inclined. I won't say it's gone to full retard, but it's definitely LGBT rights, feminist stuff are big ticket agenda items on this campus. Well, in this university. To a certain extent, Campbelltown campus is a little bit insulated from it because we don't teach any humanities except for law. It's a medical and science based out at this campus. But I imagine it'd be far worse at the Bankstown campus where they do teach a lot of humanities, especially teaching and things like that.
Yep, it is. It would be far worse.
Brainwashing the next generation of teachers. Yeah.
And look, law isn't immune. I mean, I did 2 subjects I did 3 subjects this semester, and of the 3 lecturers, they were all female. One was a feminist who pushed the DV narrative. One was, both the other 2 subjects, they were both Marxist feminists, but they couldn't stand each other. So there was this tension between one Marxist feminist and the other Marxist feminist, and that's just the way it worked out. And one of the Marxist feminists was teaching me property law. I mean,
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say it is. I mean, my campus in particular, we do specialise more in the social sciences, so psychology, sociology, that type of stuff. And I've only been to Campbelltown campus a couple of times, but not really interacted socially with any of the groups down there. But yeah, it would definitely be bigger here. Possibly same with Penrith campus as well. They have the social sciences and psychology there as well, but here in particular, we have a fairly large socialist group called the Socialist Alliance. But I'm only speculating when I say that it could be any number of these particular types of groups.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to communicating with them, even on a group level, in regards to any type of cooperation between groups, it's extremely difficult. I am pretty infamous on this campus, particularly now. So once my name floats around, they all tend to scatter and stuff. So
right.
You're not doing your job right if you don't get an eye roll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Once I shine the light out into the wilderness, they all scatter and stuff. So.
Yeah, well, you haven't really had an authentic opinion until you've made a few enemies, in my opinion. But so what's the game plan now? I mean, you've got, as I understand it, you've got the actual package. You just need a place to screen it. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I did actually purchase the academic package myself. I haven't actually got it yet. It should be here sometime next week, probably the end of next week.
Right.
And what I'll do as soon as I get the package, I'll put in a booking for one of our largest rooms in our library and try to host small screenings, possibly cap the limit at about 10 to 12 people if I can cram that into a room, and just run those screenings all throughout the 2007 and just, apart from that, because this academic package restricts me from where I can view it.
Right.
And I would like to have viewings on this campus. Apart from that, I will be tomorrow organising with Men's Rights Sydney to have a much larger event. So I would very much love to be a part of giving Sydney that proper red pill screening.
So are you saying the restrictions you can't show it off campus, or what's the story?
Well, the screening rights only allow me to show it on campus.
Okay.
So once I get this this DVD and package, I can't just take it off and just view it anywhere, because the rights themselves give me unlimited I guess opportunities to sort of keep running these screenings. You know, I pretty much own the DVD and own the rights.
Yep.
Whereas if you were to do that one-off screening, as we saw down at Melbourne, with Men's Rights Melbourne, they would pay somewhere along the lines of about $100 for the screening rights to one screening, and then once they're finished, they're given, I think, about 2 weeks to send the DVD package back to Cassie.
Yep. Okay.
So so I can only do what I can only do, and I do have a backup plan for the backup plan. So just in case they come storming into the library with the security guards, which I'm not ruling out at this point, to be honest. What I can promise is I'm going to set up enough cameras so if that happens, it's going to be well documented. But I cannot rule this out, because my uni's kind of like that. You know, they give me that impression that they are fully capable of doing that.
Is there can you hire security or campus security or anything like that? Can you?
This particular screening will be completely independent from the uni per se, so they won't have a say in whether or not I can and can't to an extent. So the situation with the booking of these rooms in the library, anyone can do it at any time as long as there's a free room.
Right.
And they're basically set up to be sort of study areas.
Yep.
And there's a few rooms in particular that are fairly on the larger side, and they have TVs and everything like that set up with them, so you can run these little study sessions.
You said
yep.
10 to 12 people you could get in there, or more?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll take a photo. I'll do one of those 360-degree type captures, so I can put it on YouTube and then show everyone what this room looks like.
Yep.
And I'll just say, look, I'll try and cap it off at about 10 to 12 people, and try and make it as comfortable as possible for people to come in and view it, and put all these details up on our meetup page and on social media, so people can register on our meetup page.
Yep.
And I'll ask people, look, don't go over this limit, but wait until next Saturday, because the movie's only for about 2 hours, and I'll just run it like for every single Saturday until attention basically drops for this documentary.
Actually, Leonard, I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. I've got a couple of ideas.
Oh, okay, no worries. Well, Well, I do have some backup plans. So this particular idea is sort of set in stone. But I just want to give people some reassurances that we are considering how to run it in alternate places on campus.
Yep.
So I guess cross the fingers.
So in addition to that, you said Men's Rights Sydney is also trying to get their own screening, or what's the story there?
As far as I'm aware, they are aware that this one's being cancelled, so they should be back into the process of organising a proper Sydney event.
Right.
So this isn't set in stone, so don't quote me on this, guys, but they are looking more along the lines of Newtown. And there is a good reason for that. I'm not sure. Indy, are you Sydney? What?
Yeah, I used to live in Sydney. I've been to the Enmore Theatre. That's in Newtown, isn't it? It is. I went to see Alanis Morissette in the Enmore Theatre. Now that's something.
So the reason for Newtown is they have their meetings at Newtown, but it tends to be the feminist capital of Sydney.
Yeah.
Whereas Melbourne tends to be the capital. Melbourne tends to be the feminist state of Australia.
Right.
So Newtown is where all the I guess colourful people tend to hang out.
Colourful people. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Well, Newtown is a very big LGBT hub as well. So there's a lot of cross-politicking at play in the general Newtown inner city area.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting tomorrow because tomorrow's meeting with Men's Rights Sydney will be at a new location, because their last meeting actually got kicked out of their old location. And this marks twice in 70 years they've had to move different pubs. So that's the beauty of Newtown. There's about 1 million pubs on one road. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they're slowly making their way up along
King Street, yeah.
yeah, King Street, because they kept getting kicked out. So
Jesus Christ. I mean, what kind of world do we live in? Seriously, I mean, people are so threatened by a few guys meeting.
I know, and that's exactly the point. There's society has reached this level of cognitive dissonance, which is just mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
yeah. I mean, you can't bottle this much stupid.
Yeah, well, if you could, you'd make a fortune, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well, Jesus, that's so. There's no now that you've got the actual package. You don't. There's no time limit. You can run this through next year if you want to. So there's no. There's
pretty much. Okay. So we're only restricted to the screenings on campus.
Yep.
But I'm more than happy to extend the learning of this screening documentary to all the other campuses around Sydney or Western Sydney. So if there's anyone listening from any other social groups, and you promise not to destroy the DVD, I'm more than happy to come along and screen the package with you guys, and we'll spread it all around town, and we'll have just multiple screening events to ourselves without the uni interfering, hopefully. So
yeah. Well, all right. So, is there any information that I can include when I post this video? This will probably go up Sunday. I might even get it out tonight. Depends. I've got another one brewing. So,
yep.
What other information would you like me to include?
We're off the air, aren't we? So,
no, we're not.
This is okay. So, what I think would be a good idea is, given Leonard's admission that he's bought the package out of his own money, maybe, Leonard, you should start a GoFundMe page or something.
Well, I mean, I could, but it didn't really put me out of pocket, to be honest.
No, but $400 from a uni student is a lot of katosh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, technically it was more. Consider US currency.
Yeah, well, whatever. So what I suggest is possibly if you go and put up like a GoFundMe page for like $500 or something.
I will consider it. It.
Well,
how does that idea sit with you, Indy?
Oh, that's fine with me. Look, whatever I can do to help, whatever I can do to get the word out. I mean, these, half my viewership are in the States. Only about 10 or 15% are in Australia, but that's still, a couple of thousand people. And a lot of people in the US and the UK, take a lot of interest in this stuff too. And if you put up a GoFundMe, they'll chip in. Some of them. I mean, there's a lot of people that really want to see this stuff succeed, and I think you saw that with the Melbourne screening. I mean, that counter petition got over 9,000 signatures at one point. So I think the push to get this stuff seen is far stronger than the resistance, and I think Melbourne showed how weak they really are, because there's a real desire to see this film. Yeah, go ahead, Leonard.
I was actually contacted by a producer from the Bolt Report.
Yep.
And she wanted to contact Men's Rights Sydney. And she wanted to know if I could get in contact with the leadership down there and get some details. So they're getting. I'm really jealous of the amount of media attention those guys are really getting at the moment.
Well, I mean, it's really good. I mean, Bolt's about the only. I mean, where else do you go for any kind of conservative commentary on anything? Where you just don't get it. You're not going to get it on the ABC or the SBS, or I mean, I just don't know where else you can get it.
It's basically Chris Kenny, Bolt, and on a good day, Peter Van Onselen.
Yeah. There's a couple of good. There's people that write some good articles for the papers. I mean, there's Rita Panahi, there's Carolyn Marcus, there's Miranda Devine, Latham. If he gets a hold of something like this, is good. But it's just a matter of trying to get this story out there. So, as whatever I can do, I'm happy to help. Whenever if there's an update that comes through, and you guys, you either want to jump back on here and have a talk, or you want to send something my way, just feel free. You have my address.
Yep.
Just shoot it through.
Just another quick thing. Does it put you in an awkward position if you raise this with Dave Cullen? Because I think if he added his voice, that could actually, spur things on to a wider audience.
I will. I mean, I always do actually. Last time I put up the petition about Red Pill, I shot it through to Dave, so we're on pretty good terms. So I will shoot this through to him. But I don't. There's no real actionable items we've got going on in this one. There's no petitions to sign. It's just getting the word out.
Yeah, pretty much.
For the moment. But I will. I mean, Dave. I know Dave watches my stuff, and I'll definitely shoot him a message to see if he'll promote it.
All right.
Probably the most.
No, sorry, go.
Yeah, I was about to say, probably the most important thing is to tell as many people as possible that it is cancelled. I mean, this particular event is cancelled.
Yep.
So I don't have people turning up on campus and wondering what's going on.
What was the actual day again, mate? What was the actual?
It was the 3rd of December.
Yep.
Next Saturday.
Righto.
Yep. So next Saturday at 1 p.m. So please do not turn up on campus wondering what's going on. So, and apart from trying to tell as many people as possible, just telling people that we haven't given up. So I've received a couple of messages and people cheering me on, saying, don't give up, don't give up. We're not giving up by a long shot.
Yeah, we just need
to change our plans.
I was wondering if is there anyone in the university administration that you think that perhaps we could start a letter writing campaign to, or something like that. Is there anyone?
That would be Ellen Breckenridge, and you saw the letter that I sent out the other day.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's notionally the Vice Chancellor at the moment, isn't she?
Yes.
She hasn't updated her profile on the staff website.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still down as like the Dean of Social something or other.
Yeah.
And so she actually is the Vice Chancellor pro tem. So, if you want to put out a letter writing campaign to her, I'm not sure of the legality of publishing her email address.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Well, I've sort of held back from mentioning too many names because I know I've already put out Paul Clark, and he was sort of the middleman involved in giving us the answers that we needed, and then sort of dealing with the sort of more hierarchy of the university. But apart from that, he has passed on all the petitions that we created and all the emails that we sent him to Ellen. So she's got everything. So if we were to create another specific one just for her, it would just, I don't know, I don't know if it would
I'll let you guys
sway her into changing her mind. But
yeah, I'll let you guys think about it. I mean, it's nothing like receiving a couple of thousand letters, and I think, that if you want to, this is about as useful as I can be, really. It's just to get people to write in that kind of thing. I did this before with Target, and I got people to write in, and they got inundated with I think a few hundred letters. That was back when I had only about a third of the amount of subscribers I have now. So
yeah, I did that too, actually.
Right. Yeah. So if we can do those kind of things, I'm happy to help. So you guys have a think about it. If you think something like that's viable, then just shoot me a mail, and I'll put out another video and encourage people to do it.
Well, okay, let me put it like this. Indy, if you were to go to uws.edu.au, or actually it should be westernsydney.edu.au, and you were to see a link that says staff and then search directory, and you on your own stuck in Ellen Brackenrag and got an email address, well, I didn't tell you what it was.
Yeah, well, you kind of just
Yeah, there
did.
we go. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So, yep. But,
All right.
yeah.
You heard that, everybody.
Yep. But yeah, my next email to Ellen would be to just if she could give us an explanation as to why was it complaints, what was the information on the complaints, because if we don't get any type of explanation, then we're going to continue to try to screen this on campus, and if they continue to try to shut us down using the excuse that they shut down a previous event, well, we don't know why you shut down that previous event, so we don't know if it was just the actual venue that was unacceptable, that the documentary was unacceptable. So if it's a documentary, then we need to know. But it won't actually stop us.
Yeah.
But,
and then
yeah.
I think Gordon told me that they actually screened the hunting ground there, didn't they?
Yes,
yeah, they're still doing it.
Which
they're
is
still doing it, yeah.
unbelievable. I mean, the hunting ground is
yeah.
basically I mean, it's
propaganda piece.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I mean, it's stunning. I was watching it yesterday, and I've read all the reviews, and I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievably misleading. It's been pilloried by hundreds of articles on fairly reputable websites. There's 19 law professors wrote in about it. I mean, the double standard is.
Yeah.
I mean, if they come back to you and say that the content is inappropriate or something, it's like it's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm at the point now where I think it's gone on long enough, and there needs to be. These people have gotten their way because they whinge the loudest. They are the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, and I think it's time for some activism back the other way. And
I agree.
That's it. Well, if you guys want to hear something really ridiculous, last year, it was on the Parramatta campus. They hosted a talk from an Islamic group, and this particular Muslim leader came on and segregated the lecture theatre, so women on one side, men on the other, and but the media got a hold of it, and it was pretty heavily slammed, and the university basically said, "Look, never again."
Right.
But one of their quotes on the Daily Telegraph was particularly amusing, and I'm going to read this right now. It says, any university is loath to interfere in freedom of expression and the independence of our student associations. We are and should be open to promoting public discourse and new ideas, even when they are challenging. We are very careful about the sensitivities surrounding radicalization, but remain confident that by working with our students, we can promote mature and occasional challenging debate.
Did you?
I think that's the problem. I think we used up our challenging debate quota.
Did you
Well,
quote that back?
It's funny because
when you.
Yes, in fact, we put that on our Twitter account, and we wrote, we remember when controversial events were allowed in Western CBU. Guess this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, and it's so ridiculous, as if a film that talks about issues that affect men should actually be a controversial topic. It should be mundane. It should be straightforward.
Exactly.
But I think I think the encouraging part of this is to show how weak they are, how cowardly they are, because they know once you start pulling out the little thread, the edifice just comes tumbling down. It's such a weak facade of lies that holds up most of the feminist narratives. You only need to pull a few threads.
One of the things that I need to disagree with you about is this. When you say how weak and pathetic that is, I would argue that the feminists are actually quite good at long-term thinking, in as much as they can see the consequences of things over a farther distance than we can. And the reason I say that is because, all this talk about sex bots, artificial wombs, all that sort of stuff. There's articles out there now trying to get it banned.
Oh yeah, I saw one yesterday.
Because they can forecast that their own redundancy, if you like.
Yeah. I didn't mean to say that. I mean, I think, unfortunately, the fact is that feminists have a lot of power right now. But what I'm saying to you is their arguments are weak. Their evidence is weak. And so when you pull at the threads of the arguments, they come tumbling down very, very quickly. And they can only maintain this facade by continuing to lie and continuing to suppress people from even speaking, or in this case, showing a film. That's the only way they can do it, because if they grant equal access and an open dialogue, a lot of their narratives are just going to come tumbling down. And so I don't mean to say that they don't have power, but their arguments are weak, and they know it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to shut people down.
And I actually, if you look at a comparative basis, like compare Australia to America to Canada to England, all that sort of stuff, I'm actually wondering where we are in the race. I think we're actually probably leading the race to the bottom, because we either have an extremely tough brand of feminists here that are particularly triggered and particularly vocal, or I don't know what the alternative is. Because they managed to screen it in New York, they managed to screen it in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You talk about little old Melbourne, and all of a sudden the Chicken Little's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of complacency in the general public. They're just not aware of these things. I mean, when most people hear about this, they go, "What? That's ridiculous." But they're not aware of it. The feminists have control of the narrative around domestic violence. I mean, it's ridiculous here. It's hysterical. It's absolutely ridiculous. And that's all it is. That's the refuge they always go to. But what about the women and the children? Surely you're against violence against women. It's not even about that. Get over yourselves.
That's pretty much the reason why I started my own social group on campus. I've been aware of all these different types of groups and arguments on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and I have to say, for the longest time, it was basically just a source of amusement for me. So I used to watch these videos of these SJW and feminist types over in North America, and say and do crazy stuff. But for the longest time, I thought that we were so far away from everyone else that they just forgotten about us, that we were sort of immune in some respects. And when I started getting a little bit more involved in the social scene on campus, I was experiencing these types of things. So out of curiosity, I would join some of these groups, and I've been kicked out of about half a dozen of them so far. So yeah, it's really funny. Some of these first groups that I started joining up, the first one was the United Women's Society, and they kicked me out for being an anti-feminist. And then there was one in the Parramatta campus called the Gender Equity Club, and they kicked me out for being an extreme feminist. And then I was kicked out of one of our LGBT groups for being a bigot, but it was for the most amusing reason. So the United Women's Society, they kicked me out because I dared talk about the gender pay gap. And once I started approaching upon criticizing actual feminist theory, they're like, "Nah, we're not having it. You're out." So boom, I was gone. And then I joined the Gender Equity Club, and pretty much the same reason I got into a conversation over a post on their Facebook where they posted this a really amusing picture of like a bake sale, and they were going to charge guys a full $1 and women 77 cents. And it was a stupid protest over the whole pay gap. And my only comment was, my first comment, was, oh, geez, the irony. I hope they realise they have no idea what the pay gap really entails. And so their president got back to me, and I ended up, what really, really triggered them, I ended up posting a Christina Hoff Sommers video. And because she still identifies as a feminist, I became an extreme feminist because I happened to post this video. And so they kicked me out for that. And yeah, I became extremely frustrated. So I created this group, and I devoted the whole group into just basically debunking bullshit. So our stance is we investigate the spread of misinformation on social issues, and we expose the irony of all these theories and groups, and expose people's hypocrisy, and we tend to target those non-for-profits and government think tanks because they have a fair amount of power and influence to change government policy.
Yeah.
So, like White Ribbon Australia, ANROS, Our Watch, Victorian Health, those types of groups, they send out the most nastiest stuff, and their stuff is so blatantly wrong. It's hilarious. It's below the grade of a first-year university student, and you look at it and you think it should just instantly trigger those questions like, what did I just read? It just doesn't sit right. But so many people just gobble it up because they have so much trust in these companies and groups that are doing the right thing, and they're doing it in part.
No, the government needs to shut these down. I mean, the Gender Equality Agency is another one. I'm actually thinking about doing an in-depth couple of videos on that because they are so wildly off the mark when it comes to they've tried to. I actually wrote to the authors and said, look, your regression analysis says this, but actually, because I know how to read these fucking things. I've done this half my life. And they just didn't get back to me. I poked a hole right through. It's,
Listen, that's another thing, Indy. If you're ever in the mood to meet a couple of researchers...
Hey, Gordon, you better come closer to the mic. We can hardly hear.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was going to say, if you need a couple of research assistants, hit us up because we've got academic licenses for journal searching and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, good, yeah.
In fact, we've actually set up a website independent from the uni, completely devoted to presenting our misinformation on these groups and giving people access to these particular types of studies. Because one of the really frustrating things that I noticed was you'll have these media sites that will just get a hold of these studies and they'll butcher the ever-loving hell out of it. And they'll misinterpret the findings.
Yep.
They'll write up an article suiting their own narrative, and then the comments section will be, well, where's the study? Link to the study. Link to the study. This is complete bullshit. So I was just meeting so much of that, and I thought, screw this. I have so much freedom when it comes to these types of studies because I'm not paying for any of these things. I don't have any of these barriers, and I'm being taught how to look through these studies and dissect them. I'm just going to put all this to good use and help people make up their own mind.
Do you want to? Well, when we get off this call, you want to send me that link to your site?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. No worries.
We'll put it up. People can go and have a look.
So easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you hit any paywalls and you're looking for a study or whatever, hit us up and we'll try and hook you up if we can.
Yeah, well, that's happened a few times. Yeah, I've lost my... I used to work at uni and I've lost all that access. All right.
Oh, it's too easy. It's too easy.
Oh, good one. Well, it's good to get to know you blokes. And look, as I said, any more updates, shoot them through and we'll put them out. I'll put them out and try and get as many people involved as possible. I'll try and get some other Aussie YouTubers into gear as well. See if we can get the word out.
All right, mate. Thanks for that.
All right, just hang on the line there, and I'll end it now.
Okay.
No worries.
Thanks.